Hello everyone, welcome back to the video. Let's talk about Real Madrid because the first three games, it hasn't been great. Let's talk about what the issues with this team and how they can improve it going forward because they need to improve it. They have already drawn 2 games, 4 points behind Barcelona already in the first 3 games, which is not good. So let's talk about the Las Palmas game first, and I'm going to move on to the things that Carlos said and the way in which the team can improve from that. So this game, it wasn't great, right? I think this was worse than Mallorca. I didn't like a single bit of this game. At least the Mallorca game, you saw some positives from the front three. You saw, not the second half, but the first half mainly. You saw combinations. You saw a lot of good passing, etc. Right? But this game was horrible. This game, it was so sluggish from the team. I could not believe this was Real Madrid. What Real Madrid have always had in the team over the past few seasons is the technical consistency with their passing. It's just not with Toni Kroos, but every single player in the squad, right? It can be Vasquez, Sabaj, all of those guys, right? The common theme for Real Madrid has always been technical consistency. And these first 3 games of the season, there is none of that. I'm seeing passes which are overhit. I'm seeing passes which aren't hit well enough. I'm seeing passes where the receiver is in a lot of trouble receiving those passes. And when the receiver receives the passes, they're too slow to move the ball around. I think that's been one of the bigger problems. The biggest problems, like I mentioned, is too slow. Everything is too damn slow. And look, sometimes you have to slow the game down, of course. But to play in first gear the whole game is so bad. And I didn't notice once throughout this game Real Madrid changing their pace, right? Changing their pace. If we had someone like Toni Kroos here, Toni Kroos, he knows how to do that, right? He can change the pace. He knows when to speed up play. He knows when the team needs to get up the pitch fast, move the defense, and then bam, score. This team, this midfield of Valverde and Tchouaméni, and Modric didn't help either. That midfield just isn't doing that. Didn't do that this game, which I was very disappointed with because when they receive the ball, everything's slow. They're not doing enough to move the opposition around. So a team like Las Palmas, they can just relax. It's fine for them because Real Madrid, they're not moving the ball at speed, or it's not they're not moving the ball at speed. They can't move the ball at speed when they want to because they don't have a player to initiate those passes. I think that was a big problem against Las Palmas. Not just the issues with the ball, but off the ball as well. The so terrible. So again, the laziness, how slow everything was to get back to get back to defense. Even when Real Madrid players got back to defense, someone like Tchouaméni, for example, not enough commitment in the tackle, not enough commitment to close the space down. I mean, look at the first goal. Tchouaméni, he literally backs off. He moves away from Moreo, and Moreo just has a free path to goal. You can't let that happen. It's too easy for the opponents. Those 2 things, I think, have been the biggest problems this season because of those things, the front three have not played well. I know you can throw criticism to Vinny, Mbappe, Rodrigo. You can throw criticisms of them, of course. I think they're partly at fault as well. But the main problem and the reason they're underperforming and the reason Real Madrid's entire attack, their offense, not just those 3, but the team's entire offense, the reason it is underperforming is that the team is just too slow to move the ball. That's it. I think they're too slow. It's too lazy. They don't know when to turn up the pace. They don't know when to go direct really fast. And because of that, the opponents, like I mentioned, everything is stagnant. They're not worried. They can just relax and then hit Real Madrid in the counterattack. And it's so frustrating to watch this because last season, that wasn't the problem. Last season, Real Madrid, they could turn up the pace when they wanted to. They could attack when they wanted to. They could hit you directly when they wanted to, right? And also calm the game when they wanted to. Kill the opposition's whole momentum when they wanted to. Sorry for that. But yeah, something we saw pretty much every single game last season, I haven't seen once. I haven't seen a single time during these first 3 games. Now let's move on to Carlo. As said, I'm just really frustrated about this game because it is a very frustrating game because these players, this team is just so much better than what they're showing. Okay, let's move on to what Carlo, because I'm going to I'm going to keep rambling on. Let's move on to what Carlo has said. First one, we can't make excuses. This has not been good enough. I like Carlo. This is why I like Carlo. And this is one of his most admirable traits. He doesn't make excuses. When Carlo sees we're not playing well, when he sees a player is not playing well, he's going to say it. He's very blunt. And I love that about Ancelotti. And I think that's what makes him such a great manager. Other managers in these situations, right? They might try to sugarcoat the situation, say extra things that are not needed. When all they have to say is, we're not good. You cannot make excuses for these performances. That's what I love about Carlo. Now let's move on to another one. We have to hold on and suffer a bit at the moment. The team is not balanced. The team is not well balanced. We are not moving the ball quick. We have a hard time recovering it. We have to find a solution. And that's going back to the point I mentioned. Real Madrid right now with the ball, they're not moving it quick enough, which causes the opposition to just relax, be stagnant, because Real Madrid's attack is stagnant as well. The ball doesn't get to the attackers fast enough. The ball isn't moved around fast enough. So how are you going to break down opposition block? Especially opposition block, which against Real Madrid defend really well, are very compact. They come to defend and hit you on the counter. How do you expect to break those down when you're not moving the ball quick enough? And then he mentions we are having a hard time recovering the ball as well, which I completely agree. Look at the game against Las Palmas. Look at how lazy the players are. No intensity, no transition to a second gear or a third gear to really fight. To really fight. Look at Chouameni for that first goal. I don't want to pick out certain players, but that should not be happening. You have to close that down. You cannot back up. You cannot do that. So he says we have to find a quick solution, which they do have to. Betis is on Sunday. I wanted to see how this team would play, especially with like a lot of these players not having preseason. I wanted to see how they would perform in these first 3 games into the season, and they have not played well. So hopefully, and this is on Carlo, by the way, finding a right solution to how the team can build up fast, right? Finding a right solution on how the team can be compact defensively off the ball. This is on Carlo. I think last season he did a fantastic job as a manager with the injuries that he had to deal with in defense, having Jude Bellingham in, the integration of Bellingham into the squad. I think last season, I've said it, I think was the best managerial season of Carlo Ancelotti in what he did, how he found solutions. He has to do it again this season. And I think he has a tougher job this season because Kroos isn't there. And second, the balance in this team from the first 3 games is completely off. And if Carlo, if there's any manager in the world that I trust to find a solution to a problem like this, it is Ancelotti. It is Ancelotti. So I'm gonna trust Ancelotti in this, and hopefully he finds a solution. Moving on to the final one, we move the ball too slow. We don't recover it fast enough. We don't have balance. Again, reiterating the same thing, which is true. There's no way to sugarcoat it. That's the state of Real Madrid right now. And hopefully against Real Betis, we see an improvement. I really hope so, because this cannot continue. This just cannot continue. And yeah. If I had, normally when I make these videos, I come on here and say how the team can fix the issues, right? How the team can work around these issues, how the team, I try to give solutions when I come on here, because I just don't want to talk about past things, because I think trying to think of solutions is the most constructive way, right? Is the most constructive way to give criticism and build on it. But right now, I'll be honest, I do not have much solutions. I think there's a fundamental problem with how slow the team has been with the ball, off the ball. I think that needs to be fixed before I can really say anything. Because these front line, right? Mbappe, Vini, Rodrigo, these front 3, I don't think we'll see them at their very best until that can happen from the rest of the team. Until the team can build that foundation to support that front line, I don't think we'll see it happen. So that's all I have to say on this game, because, again, until we build that foundation, until I can see what Carlos' quote-unquote solution will be, I can't give my solution. I want to see Carlo. I have no solution right now. I'll be honest. So yeah, hopefully a good game against Betis, a better game against Betis. We see improvements in Real Madrid's game. And yeah, take care, guys.